Today, we're digging into the very building blocks of our society. We're going to deconstruct the big ideas that, whether you realize it or not, shape pretty much everything we do.
I mean, have you ever stopped to think about it? What are these invisible rules, this kind of social architecture that lets millions of us live together, build cities, and create entire nations? It's kind of amazing, right?
Well, you can think of it like the source code of our society. And that code is written with these huge, powerful concepts, things like freedom, equality, and justice. They're constantly running in the background, defining how we relate to each other and to the government. So, let's jump right in. We're going to break down these massive ideas and see how they actually work, how they hold our world together.
Think of these concepts as the essential pillars holding up the whole structure. And we're going to start with what is maybe the most important and definitely the most debated pillar of them all: freedom.
Now, freedom sounds simple enough, doesn't it? But, when you really start to look closer, you find there are two very different and often competing ideas about what being free actually means. Okay, so check this out, because this is where it gets really interesting. On one hand, you have negative liberty. That's basically freedom from stuff. Freedom from someone stopping you from interference. Think no one can arrest you for what you say. But on the other hand, you have positive liberty, which is the freedom to do something. It's about having what you need, like an education or healthcare, to actually reach your potential. So yeah, you might be free from censorship, but do you have the tools to actually write that book? See the difference?
And right away, you can see the problem this creates. It's a fundamental tension. What happens when my freedom to do whatever I want bumps up against your need for a safe and stable community? Where exactly do we draw that line?
Well, a brilliant thinker from the 19th century, John Stuart Mill, came up with a pretty powerful tool to try and solve this. It's called the harm principle, and the idea is actually beautifully simple. The only justification for a society or the state to mess with your personal freedom is to stop you from harming someone else. That's it.
And this quote just nails the core of his idea. Mill basically said there are two kinds of actions: self-regarding things that only really affect you, and other-regarding things that affect, well, others. As far as Mill was concerned, what you do on your own is your business, period. Now, of course, in our super-connected world of social media, defining what harm even means is way more complicated, but this principle is still the starting point for that entire debate.
But just stopping people from harming each other is only one part of the puzzle. What about building a society that's actually fundamentally fair? And that brings us to our next big pillar, the quest for justice. Because a just society isn't just about what we're free from, it's about making sure there's fairness for everyone. We've all seen this image, right? The scales of justice, held in perfect balance. It's a great symbol, but what does that balance actually look like in the real world, where things are messy and complicated?
The starting point is usually the principle of equality, the idea that everybody gets the same treatment, the same box to stand on. But social justice takes it a step further. It says, hang on, we don't all start from the same place. It asks, what if some people need two boxes, or a different kind of support entirely, just to see over the same fence? Social justice is about actively trying to level that playing field.
Let's look at a fantastic real-world example of this in action, India's midday meal scheme. Now, this wasn't just about handing out free food. By giving kids a cooked lunch at school, the program created all these incredible ripple effects. School attendance went up, it freed up working moms, and, this is huge, it promoted unity by having kids from all different castes and backgrounds sit down and eat together. It was a direct attack on hunger, so kids could actually focus in class, creating the conditions for a real equality of opportunity.
Okay, so if freedom is the goal, and justice is the method, then our final pillar, rights, is how we actually make it all happen. Rights are where these big abstract ideas become concrete guarantees that we can count on, often written right into a country's constitution.
So what are rights really? Well, at their core, they're entitlements, claims that we have that are protected by law. And this part is absolutely crucial. They put a duty on the state. So for you to have a right to an education, the government has a duty to actually provide schools. Your right creates their responsibility.
The philosopher Immanuel Kant gave us a really deep moral foundation for all this. He argued that every single person has an inherent dignity, that we should never ever treat other people just as tools to get what we want. Basically, we have to respect people for who they are, not just what they can do for us. It's a simple but profound idea, and it's a cornerstone of human rights to this day.
And rights aren't just for individuals. They can be for groups too. Take the example of Basque nationalism in Spain. This is a political movement that's claiming a collective right to self-determination for the Basque people. They point to their unique culture, their language, their history, and argue that all of this gives them the right to govern themselves, even pushing for full independence.
So as you can see, freedom, justice, rights, these aren't just dusty old concepts from a textbook. Not at all. They are living, breathing debates that are happening right now, shaping our daily headlines, our political arguments, and our community struggles.
The source code of our society isn't finished. It's not static. It's being updated all the time. And these debates about how to balance freedom with equality, how to balance individual rights with the needs of the whole community, they are happening all around us every single day. So the real question it leaves us with is, how will we choose to write the next line of code?